Hello everyone, I'm the TheBigK1, and today I'm going to be giving you a little bit of Cyber Shadow. And I'm joined here with the previous runner of the Messenger, fellow ninja, Samurai Udancha.
Hello everybody. So we're about to get started on this game. Cyber Shadow just came out this year, January 26th, I believe it was. This is actually a fairly long game. You start getting into it and you feel like it might be kind of short, but there's like 10 chapters in the game, so it's going to take a little bit of time. It's strange though, because just the short amount of time that this game has been out, the world record in the game is already under an hour.
It has dropped a lot.
It can go pretty quick. But if you're playing the game casually, I mean, this could easily take 8 to 12 hours without a problem. And you'll notice here, too, that it's going to be very easy to die. Hopefully, Big K doesn't take too many deaths, but we'll see how that goes. And at the very end of the game, there is a death counter, so we'll actually get to see how he did.
Hopefully we won't be seeing too many, but... And also, shout out to TheBigK the King. I feel like we have to talk about this first. $100 donation to Link to the Cure. Thank you very much.
Yo,
it's appreciated
Q.
so much.
Very nice. Thank you very much, TheBigK the King, for the $100 donation. It's very kind of you.
As you saw from the intro here too, the cutscenes for this game are really cool. I'd love to show them off because they're just... the pixel art in this game is really cool. It's a really hard game, and we're not going to get to see them in the run because we're able to skip cutscenes. Kind of unfortunate, but for the sake of speed, we do have to do that. And yes, it will show the death counter and timer in the end. This game is timed in real time. I'm actually not entirely sure the reason. I don't know if it's differences in the consoles or not, but the in-game timer I think is a little bit weird, and I don't think it takes deaths into account. I'm not really sure on that one, but this game is timed in real time to make everybody an even field. Alright, but I'm going to get started now. In 3, 2, 1... And yes, to skip cutscenes, you basically just mash start, so it's a nice little thing. Text, we're gonna skip as well, but you kind of have to just mash your buttons for. So there is a little bit of speed tech even in the beginning of this game. I'm gonna try to do some of it, but most of it comes down to jumping off of a ledge at the very last, pixel. And you save, what is it, 1 frame?
I think they said that it's between 1 and 3 frames for every time that you can do a ledge boost. And they're free, so it's always worth trying to do them if you can.
They add up over the course of the run.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a really nice little time save that can be absolutely free as long as you're not trying to do it in a dangerous area like next to a pit or something. Because if you fail to jump at the right time, it'd be easy to fall into the pit, but yeah, it's definitely worth trying any chance you get.
Yeah. This game has a lot of similarities to the Messenger, but it's definitely its own beast. A lot more punishing. Damage boosts in this game have a very small invincibility frame. We try not to abuse it too much, at least I don't, but it's easy to control where you're going to go off of the damage boost. It's really just the direction you're facing. Doesn't matter where you get hit from, it's just... If you're facing the right and you get hit, you're going to go left. That's one really nice thing about it.
Yeah, so you'll actually see Big K a lot of times whenever he is trying to do damage boosts. You will see him at the very last moment turn in the opposite direction. But that's just to make sure that he gets boosted in the correct direction. Because if you try to boost through an enemy and you boost in the wrong direction, you're probably going to take additional damage, and it can result in a death really quick.
Yeah, as seen right there. Don't want to take too much damage in this game. It adds up really fast.
So one thing I do want to mention here is that right now Big K is doing what's called the any percent run, and The biggest difference between this and the low percent run is that in the low percent run, you're trying to avoid all power-ups whatsoever. The any percent run, you can pick up whatever power-ups you want, but you can do that at your own discretion, just because it saves time if you avoid the pickups. So theoretically, the fastest time that you're going to be able to get is a low percent run, but as it is right now, any percent is a little bit lower than low percent.
Yeah, the time's actually
so
really
BigK
close.
just killed.
Comparable.
Oh yeah, and the BigK just killed the first boss. It's a mini boss called the Smasher. You're going to see several bosses and mini bosses throughout this game. But yeah, as BigK just mentioned, that the time difference right now between the low percent and the any percent run is literally like 2 minutes. So it's not a drastic difference, and I do expect that at some point in time, the low percent time will probably get lower than the any percent, just because of the fact that you're skipping all those power-ups. Some of our runners are extremely strong in this game, even at low percent. So it makes the game that much more difficult, but once you get a good feel for this game, it makes it a lot easier to run.
That room I just went through is definitely one of the scariest parts of Stage 1. Flying enemies in this game are very mean. They will knock you into pits. They're pretty unpredictable where they're going to fly to. Especially this final one, but we got past them.
Yeah, this last climb is terrible, especially that enemy up there on that left platform. Ew. It scares me every time I ever see it.
Just depending on how you jump, sometimes he likes to get a little higher and ruin the run. Alright, and here's the first boss of the game. There's a little bit of speed strats. You just want to damage boost straight towards him and get as many hits as you can in and try to finish him before he becomes too annoying at the end. Here we go.
Oh yeah, that was really solid by BigK. If you notice that he did get that final kill there, the final hit for the kill while the Imperator was up in the air. That's actually a really, really tight jump trying to get up that high and hit him. But BigK was able to do it very well.
Yeah, and he's the Imperator is actually, I guess story-wise, this game is still pretty new and I'm not fully versed in the lore as much. But I believe he's one of the ninja's former clanmates, and the world has been fully cyberized in this game, including his old clanmates. And I think the main gist of the story is we woke up and we're trying to save our clanmates. This is a bad section. That is a death for sure.
All right, BigK just got the first power-up. That's a SP boost. So that's going to help him out later on. It's not really important right now, but you'll definitely see later on he'll definitely take full advantage of it.
Yeah. There's just,
he did take that death, but hey, it happens. So you're probably going to see a few more of those.
Example of just how it adds up very quickly when you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely. And then especially in this area, because those little like cruncher things that down in the bottom, those are instant death. So all it takes is getting hit by one of those flying bugs one time, and it knocks you into the pit, and you're done. So this game can be very brutal. It's fun. I really enjoy playing it, but it's definitely brutal.
Yeah, I would say this is maybe, in my opinion, the hardest level in the game. You don't have much for items yet, or upgrades. And there's flies everywhere, and they are probably the hardest enemy in my eyes. This laser is a one-hit kill, so we do have to play a little safe and slow. This game's not afraid to throw a lot of hits and one-hit kill situations at you.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct. Now, one thing I do want to mention too, that it's not really in regards to anything that BigK was just talking about, but there's very, very little lag and very, very little load time in this game. So it's very fast paced and you're constantly going. So you have to be prepared for everything. I know, like with Mario Land 2 that I played a couple games ago here, you saw a lot of lag in that game, but luckily in this game you don't see really any of that type of stuff. So you always have to be prepared. And the reason I mention it is because there's so many enemies that will come flying on the screen, and it doesn't really affect anything. You have to be quick and move out of the way, otherwise you're going to get hit.
This level is really scary. There's just so many sections that you can just die instantly on. But we're past basically all of them now. At this point, it's pretty straightforward now. Whew. The death at the beginning wasn't as bad as it could be, really. It was a pretty short one. But there are a lot of deaths in this that you can take that cost a lot of time.
Especially here on this auto-scroller, the elevator. Luckily, too, for anybody who is playing on the Steam version, the developer has already done an update for this game, and he actually made this elevator a little bit easier. He did remove some of those lasers out of the side walls, and he did remove some of the bugs as well. So it was very, very bad trying to run this game early on because there's so many enemies and you die at the very top of the elevator and then just have to redo the whole thing. It's such a massive waste
It was really scary. The main problem being all these spikes on the top of these platforms, the bottom of them, they are a one-hit kill. And the spikes are all over the game, but the elevator in particular, one fly will knock you back, and yeah, you get to do that elevator all over again. So we're really happy about a few enemies getting removed. So this little section of this room, we're actually trying to go as fast as we can. If we slow down too much, we're going to miss a cycle that we want for the elevator at the end. Or we call it the elevator.
Yeah, the block elevator.
Whoops. Looks like it's okay, though. You're kind of forced to wait here, and if you're too late, that laser does break all the blocks, so just forces you to wait longer than you want to. Scrambler is a relatively straightforward fight. We get up in his face and slash a lot, just staying out of the way of his projectiles.
Yeah, because with this boss, if you were to get back like halfway across the room or back all the way across the room or something, he does change up his attacks. So it does make it significantly harder if you don't get up in his face. But as long as you stay up in his face, he does predictable attacks and you're able to easily defeat him. The funny thing is here is that you see little Scrambler disappearing there. You didn't really see it for very long because Big K just ran out the door as fast as he could. But that little Scrambler, he climbs up the wall and disappears. The first time I played the game, I thought we were going to see him again, but spoiler alert, we don't see him anymore.
He's just a coward. And at the end of each of these beginning stages, we're finding one of our fallen clanmates, really, that we're trying to save. And I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's Shadow, the ninja that you're playing. His main like ability, kind of to say, he basically is able to like copy the abilities of ninjas. I'm not sure how that works like in the story really, but the clanmates are all dead, and we just kind of get their ability. We're doing some kind of tight damage.
You're going to see here, yeah, he's having to do these damage boosts here because those big bugs that are there, the mechanical bugs, they take like 5 or 6 hits to kill, and the fire, you can see that one at the bottom, they have such a large attack radius that if you don't get through them as quickly as possible, you're in trouble. Ooh, good job, Big K. Man, that was pretty scary.
It's a little scary right now. All these enemies kind of do a lot of damage, or at least the acid does. The real
Well, I mean,
acid?
when you only have one hit point, any damage is bad damage.
Yep. One thing I really love in this game too, the music is really well done. It gets you really in the mood, and the one thing I find the best about it is it's not so much just catchy, but it really sets a mood, I feel like. The composer did a really good job.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the songs in this game are really top-notch, so I definitely don't have any complaints.
I always find the hardest part of this game, to me at least at this point, is definitely still the beginning. Not having all of your abilities is, oof, that hit, makes you very slow, and you're not able to recover too much from a hit. So
you're absolutely
any knockback
right.
is scary.
Yeah, early on in the game, it is a little bit slower. That's because you haven't gained all those abilities yet, but you'll definitely see here coming up within the next few chapters that things are going to speed up significantly. So just be prepared for that. But right now, the biggest thing that saves time is just working on clean and efficient movement.
Not too much to the tank boss here. Just kind of avoid as much as you can and slash a lot of your sword.
I'll tell you though, there's when you're playing this game casually, one of the achievements that you can get in this game is for defeating that tank right there without destroying the little turrets that are basically at Shadow's feet as you're sitting there attacking that main core of the tank. It's very difficult. I'm not going to say it's extremely difficult because it's definitely doable, but especially on a casual playthrough, it's extremely easy to kill those turrets and then you lose the achievement right off the bat. So it's something that when I had to actually grind for some of the achievements, that one actually took me several tries before I was able to get that one.
Yeah, they're definitely tough. That little SP drop, actually, all that did was increase my my blue meter, my SP, by 1. Not really required in the game, but it's more of a safety pickup. It's not too far out of the way, so for any percent, it's one that's usually picked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one to pick up. It does waste a little bit of time, but ultimately, it allows you to use your special items one extra time, and you'll definitely see later on that can come into play because it gives you that little bit of buffer to make a mistake or to be able to go that much faster. So, but again, you're going to have to wait for a couple chapters before you're really going to see a big difference.
Yeah. That's really the last one we're going to pick up at this point. The rest are kind of out of the way, and more than 2 extras aren't really needed. And money's not a huge thing in this game, like, up until the very end, but there are some spots where you want to buy items. One of them being right here. We're actually going to pick up an item, finally. I guess we did pick up one earlier, but this is the first one that actually is cool. And this one is called the Swag Blade. Official in-game lore, that's not just silly, that is the canonical name of this item.
Technically called the Swag Blade, and you'll see why here if any of you are familiar with Ninja Gaiden and Arcus runs. You'll kind of get a really good feel for why they call it the Swag Blade.
It just kind of keeps going. You can actually hit it to kind of control where it goes a little, which is very nice. Ooh, it's a slower fight, but he's done. And yeah, the Swag Blade just makes that fight a lot easier, because when Biohunter's flying up in the air, he can be a little tough to hit.
Yeah, it's very difficult to hit him when he's up there, so that definitely saves a lot of time by buying that Swag Blade. So, as Big K mentioned, money management in this game is not extremely important, but it's definitely beneficial to pick up as much money as you can throughout the run, so that way you can buy items whenever you need them.
And there are a few places where you either kind of need one to go fast, or just for safety's sake. And I'm glad I have it right now, because I'm going to try to hit this item just ahead here. There we go. You heard that little sound? That was actually the swag blade hitting a bomb off screen. It opened a door that we're going to go to right away.
Last I heard, I think that saves about 3 to 4 seconds just by doing that alone. Now, the bad part about that, though, is that coming up here in this first dojo scene that TheBigK is about to do, the swag blade can cause some movement problems, but if you know how to properly manage the swag blade, you can actually minimize the amount of time loss here in the dojo, and you just saved yourself 3 or 4 seconds by hitting that bomb early.
So this downwards airstrike actually does gain you a little bit of air. Of course, I'm just missing all of them right now, but hopefully we beat the monkey. He's getting close. It's a tight race. Playing it a little closer than we'd like to. But we beat the monkey, and that's GG. As referred to the orb, which is G. And that orb just gave us the ability to, I don't know what you want to call it exactly, just slide on walls.
Wall climb. We'll call it wall climb. It actually allows you to jump off the walls. So before that, we were not able to do this. So this is definitely going to be a useful strat that's going to be used throughout the rest of the run. And here's that spot there, the little cave. You can see the opening. Normally there was a bomb sitting on the wall, and you'd have to run up to it and actually hit the bomb, and it takes 3 or 4 seconds and it'll blow up so you can exit the cave. But since TheBigK had the swag blade when he entered, he was able to hit that bomb prematurely and saved himself about 3 or 4 seconds there.
This part, we're just going to hit 2 switches to open this door to continue. I know a lot of people like to take a death here, but I've been trying to not take the death now, just to lower death, but this would have been a good time to actually take it, because I missed that throw.
Yeah, I mean, it does save just a little bit of time depending on your movement through the 2 rooms, but ultimately, it's not a make or break situation, so it's really whatever, the runner's comfort level is.
And for me personally, at least, this is definitely where the run gets... This is where it officially gets hard for me. These enemies in these rooms are very tough, some of them taking up to 4 hits to kill, and they hurt a lot when you get hit by them. And there's electrified floors, there are little eel things shooting lightning at you. It is
not just electrified floors, but electrified water. And I mean, this is a very difficult stretch of the game because you're still not very strong. You don't have all the power-ups yet. So it's very easy to take damage and take a death. So it does take some pretty good movement through these rooms in order to avoid that.
There's these little wall things. You're just kind of hitting them so that they'll let you go by. Ooh, no death, please. Alright. And here we're opening a door. It looks really cool. Unfortunately, we're only going to see this for about 2 seconds, and it's done.
Oh, but you're going to see more of these throughout the game, and the cyberspace sections are actually my favorite. The graphical style and everything, it looks so cool. So it's definitely enjoyable. I think you're going to see that at least 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah. I wish there were a little bit longer sections with it, just because it's so cool looking, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. It just gives you enough to want to see it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that completely.
And yeah, as I said, this level is just really scary. All of these spikes are a one-hit kill. The checkpoints are all very spread apart on this level, so a death here is not good, and usually is a reset.
Well, and the worst part about it, too, is that, I mean, and you all will see it coming up, but it does have one of the most difficult bosses in the game in this level as well. A big part of that is because you're very underpowered. You don't have all the power-ups yet. But then again, you'll see, it's not an easy fight, so hopefully TheBigK will be able to get through just fine.
Got the cycle. That's just a really tight jump. Doesn't cost you too much time if you miss it, but if you do miss it, it is terrifying and it's a death.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to drop off that platform a little bit early and accidentally hit those insta-death spikes, but you did a very good job there.
And we're past the worst of this stage. Mostly just these electric, I don't know what you're gonna call them, electric octopus things that shoot at you. Few of them left. We're gonna take a little bit of health here. It can be very easy to get a little too brave, and then you just end up getting hit a lot in this level. Oh, like that. And every hit, of course, does like 2 to 3 damage. Oh, please stop. Show mercy, please. Alright, and that's the end of the stage. Now we're at definitely one of the tougher bosses in the game. We're gonna buy this item for safety. And I'll let Samurai take over this one, because I'm gonna focus on this guy.
Yeah, so this boss here is a mecha dragon. Some of us affectionately refer to him as Manfred from The Messenger. So he can be very difficult at times because you're trying to navigate on these platforms that are falling. You know, you see the little things flying in the air, and you have to hit them and knock them into the water. Otherwise, you're just a sitting duck sitting in the water. And then the attack that he has right here actually electrifies the water as well. So you need to try to stay dry as much as you can. And speaking of staying dry, there's actually an achievement that you can get for staying out of the water. They call it something to the effect of dry socks or something like that. But it's very difficult to hit this boss sometimes. I've seen sometimes it could take 6, 7, 8 cycles just to beat him. So you've got to be very careful. It's very easy to die.
This is definitely one of the bosses.
Doing well so far.
Where being warmed up definitely helps on this boss.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because right now
this is a pretty slow fight.
He only has one more hit before he's going to take a death. So hopefully he can.
We're taking it very safe now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you have to do. It's better to take it safe, because the problem is that if you die on this boss, you have to go through this whole thing again. Granted, you start right at the boss, but still, it's a very big time waste if you die. See what happens.
We're just gonna reset the run right now because we're slow. No, we're not gonna reset. But that was a scary one.
Fine. That was very scary, but you did very well. Great job, Big K. And then now we're moving on to the second dojo scene. This one's a little bit different than the others because you can actually die in this one. That dojo, as soon as you entered, was a save point. You got to be really careful here to make sure you don't die. And one thing about it is these ninjas, when they fall off of the lanterns like that, it's random. I've not been able to find any way to determine a pattern or anything like that. And the worst pattern to get is if it stretches from the left of the screen to the right of the screen to the left of the screen to the right of the screen. You're trying to run back and forth and kill those ninjas before they cause problems. But luckily, Big K was able to take care of them pretty easily there.
Yeah, sometimes you just get bad patterns of like outside, and yeah, it's just a little slow. Alright, and we're actually going backwards for this because that upgrade wasn't anything too fancy. It was just a damage boost, basically. So now things, basically our sword went from 1 hit to 2 hit. So it actually makes things a lot easier in this level.
Yeah, it's just a little bit stronger. The biggest advantage is that it allowed him to destroy that wall, that green wall, when he came running by. So before this, he was not able to actually destroy that wall. So they kind of forced you to have to go to fight Mega Dragon before you can progress.
And there is a skip in this next section, really, or the next level, but we're not going to be going for it right now, just because I've already taken one hit. When you have an item, you only get 3 hits left. If we had an extra hit here, we could try go for a skip, but we're just going to go fast instead. Whoops.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, it does save time, especially if you're a top runner. It's something that you want to try to go for every single time, but it only saves, what, maybe 15, 20 seconds. Well, that's for ideally, it only saves about 15, 20 seconds. If you're not a top level runner, it probably saves you a little bit more than that. But luckily, it doesn't make or break a run if you are not able to take the skip.
Yep, and right there, that was our former master that we're trying to save. She's also been cyberized in the form of, like, a cube now that can make a hologram, but a parroter comes in and takes her away. We were that close. Alright, and we almost have all of the upgrades now. The one we just picked up was a parry, and it comes in handy for the rest of the game now. We're going to be using it a lot.
Yeah, and to be honest, parrying in this game can be unintuitive. It can be kind of difficult sometimes, because in order to parry an attack like he just did right there, where you saw him block an attack and send it right back at the enemy, you actually have to press forward towards the projectile, like the split second before the projectile hits you. If you mistime it, the projectile will hit you, or you just altogether mess it up. So it does take a good bit of timing. It's not something that's extremely easy to do when you first start playing this game, but after you play it for a good bit and you kind of get a little more accustomed to how it feels, it actually feels really good when you can throw out successive parries in a row. And some people are just insane parriers in this game.
Yeah,
TheBigK is doing very well at it so far.
It definitely takes a bit of... it has some growing pain to learning how to parry, but once you get it, it starts to feel really good. But you do have to stop moving for it to... Whoops. Oh, got it. You do have to stop moving very briefly to get it to go off. And this whole section is pretty scary. It's mostly a lot of teaching you how to parry, because all these enemies are shooting projectiles at you. We're pretty close to death, but luckily there's a hidden health right here. All of these walls are pretty scary. Oh, no! They're pretty scary. You don't want to get too close to them. And if we got here without getting hit in the whole last level, this is where the skip would be. But it's not too costly. If you don't.
Yeah, because there's a wall directly to your left that you can actually throw that projectile, you know, the charge blaster. You can throw the blast at that and it'll go through the wall and hit a switch. And it'll just allow you to bypass this entire part of the game that TheBigK is going through. Luckily, though, it's not a lot, so it definitely is not going to kill his run here. And here's the switch right there that he just hit with that shuriken. And this is the first that you actually see Subject Alpha. We're gonna see him a couple more times here coming up soon.
Yeah, he's abusing himself a little bit right now, but we just want to walk into him to get down to 1 health. Just because it saves a little bit of time here. He takes you down to 1 health at the end when he picks you up, so...
yeah.
Getting us down to 1 HP skips that.
If you don't get down to 1 HP when he picks you up like he just did, he'll actually squeeze you and take your hit points down to 1. So like TheBigK said, it does save you that little bit of extra time, because then he doesn't have to squeeze you to get your hit points down. You're already down as low as it'll go.
you get a little bit of moment, or a little bit of height off of doing that downward slash, so we're using it quite a bit at this point of the game, just to gain a little bit of extra height to get past things. Jumping onto an enemy also kind of bounces you up and lets you do it again, so we call that the pogo. We pogo a lot. Whoops.
Alright, so now you get to see the Subject Alpha first fight. This one heavily relies on parrying.
We're a little slow there, but we got him. You don't want to take too much damage during that fight. And parries are very easy to miss, and they do a lot of damage when you miss. Whoops. So yeah, if you get hit too many times, then this section is a little scary because all these things do like 2 to 3 hits, and took 1 hit there already. Pogo off of everything you see just to get by faster. They really went all out with the tentacles on this stage. Whoops. And yeah, it's not really a true wall climb you have in this game, so missing a little jump, you sometimes just slide back down. Alright, this is Subject Alpha's back for a final phase. This phase just looks so cool. I love it. It's very Ninja Gaiden. Very NES Ninja Gaiden-like to me. And basically, we just want to parry as much as we can and pogo him when he's not shooting.
Alright, so now this is where the game will actually start opening up a lot for us. He's about to get his last, well, technically the last upgrade that you're going to see. He does get another upgrade after this, but it doesn't show up on the start menu. But with this, it's actually going to make the game a little more difficult and a lot faster. So you'll see exactly what I mean here in just a moment.
There, you can just pogo off that ball a lot to free the final power-up, which is the best power-up in the game. This is the dash. We can now sprint. And this is where the game gets a lot funner and a lot faster. The dash does get a little bit better later, but it can be.
Yeah, I was going to remind you. I was going to remind you that you don't have double jump. So
yeah, at this point in the game, the dash is amazing, but it is pretty easy to get carried away and forget that you're not fully powered up, like at the end of the game. Whoops, no double jump. And this is actually an elevator, but we found out that you don't need to take it. You can just climb right up the wall. It's faster to climb up the wall. Alright, and this is officially... Chapter 6 onward is where I think... This is where it becomes a game. So all of these red lasers
it's trying to get you...
too.
It's trying to get you more accustomed to actually being able to use the dash and everything. But yeah, Big K was mentioning those red lasers. If you touch those red lasers, then it sets off an alarm. It sets off an alarm, and a very powerful, like, spinning ball comes flying at you. I'm sure you'll see what I'm talking about here in a few minutes. But you want to avoid those red lasers as much as possible, because it's very easy to die at that point if you hit them.
I'm going to set off this one just to try to get through here a little quicker again. Whoops.
So you see that spinning ball, it just kind of rolls around him, kind of like the swag blade does. But this one you definitely want to stay away from.
Yeah.
And
Eventually,
luckily,
it just
though,
gives
after
up.
a set amount of time, it disappears. You don't have to worry about it chasing you forever. And if you change screens and go from one room to another, it'll disappear as well. So it's just, if you happen to trigger an alarm, go as fast as you can. Get out of that room, get to the next one. That way you can get rid of the spinning ball.
Yep. Security in this place is really scary, but they're not very good at their job. They will quit eventually. I'm gonna take a little save here because of the deaths already. Alright, and here's the boss for stage 6 already. It's a little short stage, not super long.
Alright, Tunnel Cleaner here. It's actually my favorite boss in the game. It's not a very difficult boss, but if you can maximize the attacks, you can take him out really quickly. It's just basically anything that you can get to hit that eyeball whenever it opens up. Notice how Big K hit that projectile and pushed it right back into his eye, and it just made really, really short work of the Tunnel Cleaner.
Yeah, parries are definitely good in that fight. You can do it a little faster. There's a lot of different ways to do that quick kill. That's kind of like a safer one I like to do. Alright, in Chapter 7, we want to talk about hard levels. This is where it usually ends. But it
to be
does have
honest, I
great
think this is
music.
probably the hardest. In my opinion, it's probably one of the hardest levels, just because you're not 100% fully powered, and it's basically pushing your dash skills, your sprinting skills to the limit. Especially with these little walls and stuff here, it's very easy to get tilted in this level.
We're gonna try not to get too tilted yet. I'll save that for later. And yeah, for the dash, in order to actually get a kill with the dash, you do have to go through the enemy. If you stop in the enemy, it's not good. Oh, shoot. Oh, he's in a bad position. Go up, please. Yeah, those walls are the true boss of this game. Alright, and this is probably, and we say it in every stage, this is the hardest part. This green cave.
It really is, though. I mean, this is what really makes the level difficult, because they throw so many enemies at you all at one time, that it's very easy to die in this portion. Especially those flying skulls. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these flying skulls do a lot of damage, so you really want to try not to get hit by them. Oops.
Oh, they're heat seeking. They come after you. They don't just fly around. And when they pick you up, they come after you. I mean, as fast as they can. You might see it, you might not. We'll see how big. Yeah, you see it a little bit.
They're coming, but we're just gonna play a little safe here. Probably the hardest room on this whole stage. It's that one. But we did pick up another item there. This is the SP dispenser, so it's just going to constantly refill my SP by one every few seconds, and it's probably the best item in the game.
Yeah, well, especially when it comes to going fast, because it's constantly giving you that SP back, so you can do your dashes, you can do the downward strikes, just basically the shuriken. I mean, any of that stuff, it uses the SP. It just allows you to use it that much more. Yeah. You see Big K using the pogo technique there. Ooh, okay, he got through.
Want to keep the SP dispenser as long as you can here. Getting hit a bit there, but we're good. Whoops. It's nice to have the SP dispenser for the next part, but oh. And yeah, here we're getting longer cyber sections again. We just have to break this eye at the end to open up the door. I think there's one or two more of these left. And now we're getting the final upgrade of the game by seeing this really cool Dragon Spirit. It's not really even an upgrade. He's basically buffing all of our abilities now. So now our Shuriken can be charged, our normal slash can be charged. Man, he's cool looking. We have a double jump now, and we get a double jump and another slash outside of the sprint dash. He just makes the game... This is the part of the game where it gets really fun.
Yeah, it just breaks the game open, because at this point in time now, if you can string the enemies along and you can dash on them properly, you can carry the dash for as long as you can go. Especially the great thing is that whenever you destroy like a box or kill an enemy or something like that using the dash, that really fast blue technique that he does when he's running, it'll actually give you an SP as well. So you're using an SP and it's regenerating it right back, so you can actually, I mean, theoretically, infinitely string together the attacks. So you'll definitely see Big K make the most of that coming up. A little bit in this chapter, more so in chapter 10 though, you'll really see it.
And this is where, yeah, we're putting the new abilities to work. This is my favorite part of the game, personally. But it's over way too quick, because we're too fast now. One wrong move with these dashes can be a problem, but because there's no floor. But when you're feeling the speed, you just go. And the double jump just helps a lot with avoiding hits. Alright.
Coming up to another cyberspace area, and then after that we're going to have to go through another auto-scroller. Speedrunners' favorite levels are always auto-scrollers.
This one at least gives you a cool motorcycle to make up for
yeah,
it.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Whoa, no. Alright, I'll just go to the other side now. The way those shoot is kind of a little awkward. It was a little slow, and yeah, the bullets were a little off there. And what's cooler than a cyber ninja on a cyber motorcycle? Nothing really. But yeah, here's a little auto-scroller now we get.
And anybody familiar with the Mega Man X series of games, you'll probably recognize this type of area here. So I'm sure that a lot of you have noticed, especially if you've played this game before, that there are tons and tons and tons of inspiration that the developer took whenever he was developing this game. And I keep referring to him as like singular, because for anybody that doesn't know, this game was developed by a single person. Granted, he did have, you know, somebody else do the music, and he did have play testers and QC and all kinds of stuff like that. But when it came down to the development portion, it was a one-man operation. So I think he did a very good job with what he did. And he drew a lot of inspiration from a lot of retro games.
So here we're just trying not to get hit too much. The enemies that hit you in the back here actually do a lot of damage. So it can be easy to die here if you're a little too excited. That's the end of the motorcycle section. We get saved by the motorcycle here, but it's actually not a motorcycle. It's one of our fallen clan mates who's also been cyberized. He got... I'm not sure if that's a good one or not. He got turned into just a mech that can turn into a motorcycle. Lucky for us. Ooh. This is definitely a section that's better when you have SP. There it is. It's a little late, but we got some finally. And since we lost him, we now found him. But now we get to ride around in his true form. We just gotta run through everything. These enemies actually surprisingly only really do 1 damage for the most part. Took a little too much there. We do want to.
It's easy to damage boost through a lot of enemies here, but you don't want to take a death.
We're gonna play it a little slow now because there's a little too much hits for our safeties. And I want to say this boss is a Contra reference, or was it a Metal Slug reference? Because Exo does say, let's attack aggressively.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. It's not familiar to me, so I would assume probably Metal Slug, because I'm not a big Metal Slug player.
Alright, we're almost done with little Exo here. He likes to talk a lot. You do have to skip a lot of text with Exo. But it's good that he gets a lot of text because, unfortunately, this is the end of Exo. We've met a Parador again, and, yep, he's had enough of Exo.
Yeah, that's a sad ending for Exo, but, you know, Exo served their purpose.
Served us
If I'm
well.
not mistaken, I think
He was the
Exo is
best.
supposed to be a female.
I'm not overly sure who he is, or who Exo is in the cutscenes. Which, we did just skip one of the coolest cutscenes in the game. It looks awesome. And now we get no music as a feels bad moment. This is one of the few moments where I will be buying a health upgrade from that store because this part gets really hard. This is probably, in my eyes, the hardest little section of the game. Is the next 1
Oh yeah,
minute.
absolutely. Yeah, coming up here with the part that Big K's on right now, plus the part that's right after it. I always say that and you'll see it soon, but it's coming up to the hardest checkpoint in the game. So hopefully Big K doesn't have too many problems with it.
This room right here is a pain. Oh, we take that. It's not the quickest, but we got through, and that's all that matters right now.
Nice. Damageless strats going through that room there. Really.
Alright, we're through. And we're through. That was the worst part of the game, pretty much. Oh! Never mind, more. You can actually avoid that security bot. This might end badly. No, we're fine. Ugh. No SP is not good in this game. That is when You have to be a little slow.
It is definitely a curse. Yeah, when you run out of SP, it starts turning. Your mind goes 100 miles a second trying to figure out what you're going to do, because SP is very important in this game, especially at this point.
Whoops. And out of SP. So take a few.
We are in the most difficult checkpoint of the game. There's a lot going on here, so it's very easy to die, especially when you're first starting out learning the speedrun or doing a casual playthrough or anything. This is a very difficult section, so we'll see how everything goes with BigK's run here.
We should be good from this point on, but sometimes it likes to troll you right here. Alright, I think we're good from now on.
Yeah, your health is looking good. I think you should be okay. But coming up into the Mecha City docks for Chapter 9, you're definitely going to want some more SP. So this coming up, the Chapter 9 is very SP dependent, and it makes this section extremely difficult if you don't have SP.
Yeah, every time you do kill an enemy with your dash in the air, you actually do get an SP back, so you really want to make sure you utilize it and don't end up wasting any. This is kind of one of the nice things about it.
Generally, you want to have at least 2, because if you only have 1, you may not regenerate that 1 SP back fast enough in order to chain together attacks. So ideally, you want to have at least 2 when you start chaining all those attacks together.
It's going to take this a little slow because of the lack of SP. Oh, there we go. We got one more. Alright, we're good. We should have plenty now. Oh, I got slow. Sometimes he just decides to go slow after you do a parry. Not sure what it is. He's full of chocolate.
He had too much chocolate cake before the run.
Yeah. Some little tight jumps here. They're not too challenging. But now we're past the hardest section, really. And the last obstacle before Chapter 10 is this lovely little boat ride.
And the boat ride, I mean, surprisingly, it seems like it's fairly straightforward and easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. It's if you let down your guard, it's very easy to die here, and you lose a lot of time. So it's definitely worth trying to pay attention and taking care of your business here.
Yeah. These purple guys are the main culprit, really.
Yeah, exactly.
They drop fire
throw
down.
those fires, like they go down into a fiery wreckage, and they definitely can still damage you if you run into that fire. But luckily, if you pay attention to the background, you can see the little glints of light that basically tell you which direction the enemies are going to be coming from. So as long as you're paying attention to that, for the most part, it's pretty easy to figure out which direction you need to go to attack the enemies.
Yeah, and you, at least for me, I definitely try to keep my SP full from this part on. We're going to need SP for the next boss, which is coming up very quickly. And you can do him without it, but it's much safer with SP. And that's it. This little end actually can go by quicker if you get a right cycle. I forget what you call it exactly, but depending on when you enter it or when you finish it, this little section can end a lot quicker.
Yeah, to my understanding, you could probably lose like 5 or 6 seconds at a minimum if you get the wrong cycle. I don't think that we know yet exactly what causes the extended wait there, but it definitely loses time if you're entering on the wrong cycle.
I blame the chocolate ninja head. Oh, that was close. Okay, so Combinatron or Combinatron, when he puts his hands down on the ground, it actually regains like all of its health back. So That was about the last second I could have possibly done that.
Yeah, that was extremely tight because at that point, I mean, it refills his health fast enough that you can't really do anything to counteract it. So it's pretty much you lost that fight, for lack of a better term, at that point. But Big K did pretty well there. And one thing I do want to point out is that at this point in the game, if you were playing on 100%, you have 15 SP whenever you enter into that boss. And in order to beat Combinatron on 100%, all you have to do is stand beneath him and spam the upward fire attack for 15 shots, and it will kill him instantly. So for anybody out there that might be interested in trying out 100%, it's a free fight for you right there.
And this part of the game is, as you can see for the speed run, we are just abusing this dash like crazy. And I'm luckily not falling into the pits on this run. Falling into the pits at this point is an instant death, so it's pretty scary.
Yeah, but luckily, as you can see here, as I was mentioning earlier on, that you can chain together all those attacks. So as long as you dash through an enemy and then double jump and then dash through an enemy and double jump, you can chain them together forever. So Big K did a very good job so far in this level, chaining all those together to get them.
Oh, mean. Oh my goodness. Well, we're alive. I'm gonna play this a little safe. Make sure those parries don't hit you in the face, because we're close. Alright, and this is the spider rail fight, which is a little bit of tricks to it.
Yeah, because I mean, what makes the spider rail the most difficult is the fact that he opens his eye and then you hit him and then he instantly closes his eye, so you can't really spam attacks on him. Granted, you can throw, if you notice the shadow through the kunai and it hit him in the eye, that'll still attack him even if his eye's closed. But other than that, there's not really a way that you can actually efficiently attack him. So it's really just a waiting game and waiting on him to open his eye and dodging all these attacks. It's a very dangerous, very deceptively dangerous boss for that matter.
Yep.
I've lost a couple runs on this boss, so it did a very good job beating him there on first try.
And this part is, on a good run, this is probably the scariest part of the game. This is the climb. And watching a new player play this is always entertaining. I'm just going to focus a little bit here to make sure I don't fall off the... that jump. Alright, go through that part.
And when you get to the end, Big K, don't say how many deaths you have. I want to guess. I haven't been counting, but I have a good number in my head already.
Oh no, get up. Alright, and that was the climb. And now we're at the final fight. There's actually 3 phases to this fight, but a lot of tricks on each of them. Not the greatest start, taking an early hit, but it should be fine. We're just gonna play it a little safe.
Yeah, that was a pretty good climb there. You had a couple of little small missteps, but all in all, that was a really good climb up to that final boss.
We're gonna play this a little safe because of we're already 2 hits, and I would like to keep my FP for a little bit longer.
Yeah, you're doing good so far, though, Big K. Keep it up.
So this is Dr. Progen, responsible for cyberizing everything. He's looking a little chonky. Oh,
Alright, so Big K shouldn't have too many problems, because if you notice here, a Parader, after you beat him, he did drop off several like hit point refills. So even if you take some damage here on the second phase of, well, the first phase of Progen, the second phase of the final boss, it's a nice little cushion to help make sure that you don't have any problems. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, taking a little bit of extra damage here.
That Progen 1 was pretty pretty mocha-esque there. Good job though.
Alright. So here, normally what we'd do is break that right side, but for the speedrun, we're going to use it as a pogo. Just to try to get some extra hits on him. Whoops.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot quicker, because normally what would happen is that you get that red thing that he just got right there, and it allows you to throw those attacks at him. And then the one that he didn't break is a green thing that actually makes platforms appear, so that way you can actually jump up and attack him. So by leaving that one there, and he does these pogos to attack the boss, it does make it that much faster. So it's a very good fight that you had, and that is going to be a GG. Just be safe, Big K. Do not hit 2 switches at one time.
We could extend the run by another, 7 minutes, because there is a potential soft lock that I've seen once, and it's not good. But that fight was relatively well done.
We recently discovered that if you hit 2 of the switches at the very end at the last, or at the same time, that the game only registers 1 switch press, so it can cause a soft lock. So we did make sure the developer was aware of that, and we're hoping that he will try to help get that resolved on the next update.
And I forget who these fine spirits are exactly, but they're like elemental spirits. I guess we've proven
That's
ourselves.
exactly what they are. Yeah, because come to find out, long story short, you're the lightning elemental. You're not really going to see too much of that because you would have to watch the final cutscene, but yeah. And I'm going to guess 4 deaths. That's going to be my guess. 4.
I'm just gonna guess 3, and that is the end of the run on the hit switch. And that was Cyber Shadow any %.
And nice.
We'll watch a little bit of these really cool. That pixel work is so nice in the cutscenes. Oof. But yeah, a 104 is a good time. I know I died right at the beginning, and that definitely makes it scarier right off the bat.
Oh yeah. That was a really solid run. Good job, Big K. I know you had a few little small hiccups here and there, but all in all, that was a really strong run. So GG.
But yeah, I would highly recommend picking up this game if you haven't. It's a really fun first playthrough, especially. It's a challenging game, depending on how fast you pick up the mechanics. But it's such a fun game if you can push yourself through it a bit.
It really is. I mean, it just takes a lot of patience and just wanting to actually get through with it. It's funny because there was a person in the Discord that posted a photo of the final screen for where he said that, I guess, his girlfriend or something like that, who doesn't really play video games, played through this game, and she stuck with it. It took her 40 hours to beat this game.
It can be really punishing.
but still though, that kind of determination to actually stick with it and beat it at that point, I mean, I applaud her for. I mean, she's not a gamer, and she stuck with one of the hardest games I think I've ever played. Okay, that's an exaggeration. This isn't the hardest game I've ever played, but it's definitely brutal. It's so fun and rewarding though, because it's so difficult that when you get through with the sections, get through with the chapters, get through with the game, it feels so good and so rewarding to actually get through with it.
Yeah.
So highly recommended. Highly recommended.
And definitely, if you're thinking about picking up the game or anything, definitely hop by the Discord. It's a really cool community, really welcoming. Lots of speedrun chat and lore chat. I don't even know if the hunt for the final Easter egg is still going on, but that's exciting. There's one Easter egg in the game that hasn't been discovered.
Easter egg in the apparently that nobody has found a secret. Nobody knows where it is. We have scoured the game and nobody has found it. So the search for it has kind of died off a little bit just because we can't find it. But he did say, the developer, that whenever he releases the new update, he may be giving us a hint. So he's going to be sending through a patch that's going to patch some of the issues with the game and stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to figure out from there where this secret is. And I do want to give a shout out to Mecha Skull for this game, because he spent, to my understanding, I think he said it was like 5 or 6 years in development for this game. For one person to come up with this game and develop that whole thing, he did an incredible job. And
I remember hearing about it years ago, and
he's
not
been
even
pretty
knowing.
active. He's been pretty active in Discord as well, with the community, to take the feedback about the game, make changes to the game in order to make it better. So I really do applaud him for his efforts to make sure that this is the best experience that it can be. So again, highly recommend, if anybody out there has any interest in playing this game, it's worth the playthrough. It's hard, but it is rewarding when you get through with it.
Yeah, Mecha Skull is the coolest. Shout out to him. Alright, well, should we check out the final time? Here's the in-game time, final cutscene. And it'll show the deaths.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, the in-game time that it displays here on the final screen, it is actually, they cut the time off for the in-game after you beat the last boss. So that whole cutscene there at the very end where you have to hit all the switches and all that stuff, it's not included in the in-game time. With this, it should be a sub 1 hour in-game time.
Yep, it's a 59. With 2 deaths, really just the beginning. That was a really solid run for deaths.
2 deaths? Really?
Deaths are...
that was really good, BigK.
2 is a really good for me.
GG, man. That was really nice.
Normally, I'm around the 8 to 10. So 2 is really good.
I mean, average people that play this game die somewhere between, let's say, 300 to 500 times on their first playthrough. 300 to 500 times. And he just made it through this game with 2 deaths.
Yep.
That was incredible.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, anyways, I guess that's the end of my time slot, though. So I'm going to start wrapping it up here. And we've got DeadLink SR coming up next. DeadLink's got the Resident Evil 2 Claire run going. So definitely stick around for that. Thanks, Samurai, for hanging out and helping out with the run, explaining things. Always a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely fun. I really enjoyed it. BigK, it was a really good run. So hopefully we'll be able to catch some more runs from you on this in the near future.
All right. And thanks, everyone, for watching. And have a good one. And stick around for DeadLink.
Thank you, everybody.